Hey, it's Tuesday. It's SAMP&CHANCE Wrestling, guys. On this episode, we are going to take a look at Clash at the Castle happening this Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific. So remember that time. Also, guys, Tony Khan has just proven everything that Mr. Michaels and everything I've agreed with Mr. Michaels on. He just said it. We're going to get into it. Ricochet finally out of WWE. Where's he going to end up? All this and so much more on this episode of SAMP&CHANCE Wrestling. So strap in and thank you for letting us into your ears. Hey, everybody, it's Tuesday. It's SAMP&CHANCE. It's wrestling. Welcome to the show. I'm Bobby Sampson. He's Mr. Chance Michaels. Mr. Michaels, how are you, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Can't complain. We got the Expos and the Braves on deck. Love it, love it, love it. How are the Braves doing? Are they picking up anyone in for their pitching?
Not yet, not yet. I'm sure they will, but nothing official yet. I'm sure they're brainstorming.
Fair enough, man. It's amazing that they're looking at stuff like that so early in the season.
Yeah, they always every team tries to improve, but it's only the top handful of teams that actually have a chance. Teams like the Pirates and the Rockies are not getting the playoffs. So it's kind of Oakland is kind of waved the white flag, but Philadelphia Phillies, they're on a tear right now. The second best team in baseball behind the Yankees. So Phillies are doing good. Bryce Harper, he was on the cover, I think, of Sports Illustrated when he was 15 years old. 15
Yeah.
or 16, he was a phenom. So we'll see what he does.
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel bad for the guy because the year he left Washington, they won the World
They
Series.
won the World Series the year after he left, so he wants one. He deserves one. Maybe he'll get it.
But I mean, look, he's with the team and they're there now, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
just it says a lot. It says a lot. Well, quickly before we go anywhere, and I don't mean to throw daggers at you, but how do you feel about the Oilers right now, man? Being down 2-0, like, are they just being outplayed or are they just being figured out? I personally feel, before you say this, Vancouver had the same formula that Florida has been showing. The only difference was they didn't have the goaltending. Canucks.
Yeah, Bobrovsky's been amazing. And Florida's bigger and stronger too than Vancouver. So they're not like there was a play yesterday when Ekholm he was choking Bouchard. Bouchard went like this.
Yeah.
He tapped out. Why are you tapping out, Bouchard? You're a defenseman. You elbow that guy in the face, you throw him off, you whack him with your stick. He went like this. Right then and there, that's surrender. I don't like that. You're letting Florida bully you. You don't let them. I don't care who you are. You hit him back, even if you get punched out, do something. At the end of the game, Evander Kane went into a scrum. He was starting to hit guys, push guys around. He said, guys, we're not going to get bullied here. Yeah. Like, stand up for yourselves. I understand that today's hockey player is not like the older guys. Like, you try that on Mark Messier, he'd knock your block off.
Back in the day, guys would run you in the boards like they try to now. But, at that time, it was very different because they had intention to run you in the boards. Now, when the guy's coming at you saying, I'm coming, you're getting warned that you're going to get hit. Like, that's not hockey to me.
Yeah. I don't like how Bouchard, he had him in a choke and went like this. I get it. Like, hit him, punch him from behind, do something, like make a tussle, do something. You're surrendering like that. Florida, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're meaner. They wanted. They were there last year. They lost the Cup final to the Knights. Oilers have to win Game 3 at home. If they lose, they're swept. Season's on the line. And Bobrovsky he's playing amazing. They just can't beat him. So
they got one goal on the guy, man, but they're not even getting many shots in there. Like, they've totally figured out how to control that neutral zone.
Florida's is so big and it's so deep and so strong.
And they have that experience.
Next game where that's it.
And they have that experience. I think that plays a big role in this. They know what it tastes like to lose. They don't want to do it again.
They're a tougher team too. Yeah. We're getting bullied. We're tapping out like this.
Well, let's talk about weakness and yeah, let's just talk about the weakness. So let's talk AEW and Tony Khan. How do you like that for a segue?
Yeah, do it. Let's get
so here's something I read this morning and I couldn't wait to tell you. I'm going to paraphrase it here very quickly. So very much to what we do on the show, we talk about, AEW. We try to be fair. And I think we're really fair. I think we're one of the
fair. So more than fair.
I think we're one of the fair shows out there for anyone to consume. I love WWE, but I'll call it shit when we have to call it shit. You do that without no problem. I struggle with that a little bit on that end.
Yeah.
But AEW, we try so hard to find something good, but it never, it's there, but it's never strong. It's always the negative stuff that kind of overpowers it. And I really believe this one Tony Khan did to himself. So any criticism, anything we say, He's given us the fuel. He's given us the fodder to kind of build this up.
Mhm.
Let me get into it here. So, just so everybody knows, a lot of people, including us on different shows, have been complaining about booking, lack of storyline, lack of engagement, giving me a reason to come back every Wednesday. That's the
Yeah.
key to this kind of program. Why should I come back next Wednesday? Why should I go to Raw on Monday the following year? Because I want to know what happened. And you said it, I said it. There's no continuity. The storylines are shit. Everything is just kind of thrown together. Why is Will Ospreay fighting Roderick Strong? What's the story behind it? It makes no sense. We go on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
Tony Khan, I guess, has been reading reports from other outlets and different people complaining about the same things that we've been talking about. His response, I'm paraphrasing, I book wrestling shows for sickos because I'm a sicko. Because I'm a sicko. So he's basically saying what you've been saying the whole time. And I guess the
Mhm.
sickos are the ICW,
IWC crowd, yeah, the
IWC.
hardcore marks, internet wrestling community. He's booking for them. He only cares about guys that look like indie wrestlers, that act like indie wrestlers, because that's what he's fantasy booking. He's just booking, like he's saying, for what he wants to see. And he's appeasing to a certain population of the audience, which is only 800,000 people. So I mean, it's completely idiotic. He's fumbling the ball, and he's just
Best part of that show on Wednesday, in my opinion, was the promo by MJF. Because remember, I texted you when I started watching. I said it sucks, man. I have no excuse not to watch this,
mhm,
considering where I was at the time. I mean, it works for me.
yeah,
So I started watching it, and first thing I realized, we talked about it. Osprey wasn't on the show. He's your biggest star right now outside of MJF,
yeah.
and you don't have him booked.
He needed the night off because he said he was burning him out. That's what he was
How is
saying.
it? Wow, like they don't run house shows. Okay.
I
Like
know.
WWE, and I'm sorry I'm using WWE, but they're the number one company. It's what you're
Yep.
chasing, right? WWE is on the road from Thursday to Tuesday every week. Wednesday and Thursdays off,
Hmm.
right? So you think about it, they go on the road Friday, Saturday, Sunday, providing it's not a pay-per-view or a show, right? So in this case, they're in Europe. Chances are they're already doing house shows as we're talking, right? There's a
Yep.
couple of
They're always
house
going to
shows,
show something.
always doing a show somewhere, right? So they have two crews running. So you basically run a show, pay-per-view, blah, 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 Monday Night Raw, Tuesday, if they do something. So Tuesday and Wednesdays are usually their days off. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, depending where they are, right? AEW, depending on what brand you're on, if you're on Dynamite, you only go to work Wednesday.
I know.
If you're on Collision, you only go on Collision. And if you're like a top tier star, then you might make dual appearances, but you're working 2 days a week.
Yeah, I don't know what Tony Khan's saying. MJF Will Ospreay needs a break. He only wrestles a couple times a month. So I mean, you don't even have to have him wrestle. Just get him out there doing a promo. Get him in the ring. Keep
The
him
only
hot.
thing,
It's idiotic.
the only thing sorry, to interrupt, the only thing I can think about AEW when it comes to that kind of a comment is, you got to figure these guys are fighting everywhere at the same time. They're not just exclusive to AEW. Like, for example, look at Moxley. He fights in Japan on a Tuesday, then he's back in, California on a Wednesday, sort of a deal. So, I
Which I
mean,
think is stupid. It's like I love it out. If you're in WWE, you can't do that. Why do you want your star guys fighting other promotions, getting themselves hurt? You didn't let Barry Sanders go play a game in the CFL. You're in the NFL, you play the NFL. You're in the NHL, you play the NHL. You don't go to other promotions. I don't like that. I think Tony should just cut that out. I get he's trying to be cool in the indie, but this is the big leagues now.
I think I personally think that was a great thing in the beginning because it was new, it was fresh. It's like, oh my God, we get to see this, right? You would never see it before. Opening that fourth door, collapsing the fourth wall. But I mean, now that they've done it so much, it's that luster and shine is gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I'm gonna leave that there. But ultimately,
Tony Khan's admitting what I've known for a while. But you just watch the show and you can tell he's got all the money to play with, and he's booking this kind of matches, these kind of storylines, these kind of characters, and that elite crew is the geekiest, nerdiest faction I've ever seen in my life. They're all four wimps. I mean, they're trying to be like a new NWO. NWO, like I said many times, you look at Hulk Hogan and Nash in the mid-'90s, you see those guys, they might have kicked my ass, they come into bar. These guys look like a bunch of computer geeks. And it's just like, you could tell what Tony's doing. So I'm glad he actually came out and said it. Now we all know you don't really care about the fans. You only got a certain market, and you're never going to succeed like that with that kind of mentality, Tony.
My concern is what point will dad say I'm done with this? Because right now the only thing that's keeping this the new show came out. Did you watch that, by the way? Who killed WCW
No, I
on
haven't watched it,
Vice?
but I heard a lot. I read about it, heard about it.
Yeah, so I've watched the first episode, and to be honest, man, I mean, I'm waiting to see what comes out of it that's new because everything's being regurgitated.
That's
I
what I'm
don't know.
saying. Well, all we know is it was like I think Eric Bischoff said it best. It was a death by 1,000 people because it wasn't just one guy. It was a combination of tons of stuff. And Ted Turner said, "I'm done with this." You know what I mean? TNT was done with it. So,
It wasn't even Ted Turner. Like, I mean, the one thing that we got to recognize here, it's like Ted Turner was the only guy who wanted it. No one else in the company
and the funny
wanted
thing is,
this.
he's the only guy who's not in this documentary. He should be in it. The owner of the company. You can't
His
get a
son's
word
in
from
it.
him,
His
huh?
son's in it. His son's in
Yeah,
it.
but it's like you need Ted in there to see what he has to say, right?
He's
But
old now. Like maybe like Hogan's not in it.
Hogan should be in there. He's the most
He's
popular guy
not.
WCW ever had. And to be Hogan.
Hogan's not in it. The only guy, Kevin Nash, is in it. The Rock's in it for some reason.
He produced it.
No,
His
no,
production company
I get
produced
it.
it.
But I mean, he's talking from the WWF side of it. But I mean,
Mhm.
you think, okay, some of the guys that should be there aren't. Like Hogan, obviously, God rest his soul, Scott Hall couldn't be there. But I mean, Kevin Nash is one.
Goldberg in there?
Pardon?
Is Goldberg in there?
I have not seen him yet. It's only the first episode.
One of the most popular guys ever. Like he needs to be. Maybe
Well,
he's
maybe
not
they
popular.
will. I mean, there's more episodes to come, but I mean, ultimately, when I watch the show, I'm just like, okay, a lot of this has already been said.
That's why I didn't watch it. We already know. We've heard this 1,000 times,
Yeah,
right?
I'm hoping there's something fresh that will come out
Vince
of it.
Russo's in this. Is he on the episode you've seen or no?
He wasn't in the episode that I saw. The first episode came out, but apparently he's pretty choked because he doesn't like being said by Ric Flair. I think it was Ric Flair or Bischoff. One of them said that it was it was Russo and a couple other people that killed WCW.
So many factors, man. Can't one guy just can't kill off a company like that.
I personally feel, since we're talking about it, in my own personal opinion, what killed WCW? There were too many cooks in one kitchen, and this is where Eric Bischoff learned his lesson that you cannot, that's why he's so hard on AEW. If you look at him, he is so hard on Tony Khan and them because
Oh yeah.
he's watching them make the same mistakes that he did, and he's owned it. That's the beauty of
And
Eric
WCW
Bischoff.
is 10 times more popular than AEW is. Let's not forget that.
Well, no, it wasn't,
He knows
right?
what he's talking about.
He knows what he's talking about. He goes, look, these are the mistakes that I made. Even he knows that he played a role in the death of WCW. NWO should never have been as big, like, big, not in the sense of that, but populated as much as it was, right?
You know
Like, I
what
mean,
else killed WCW? If you look at the early 2000s, all the guys, all the good guys that we liked weren't there anymore. Hogan's gone, Hall's gone, Nash is gone, Goldberg's gone, Sting is all okay still. A lot of the guys, it's all the Jericho guys. That's not enough to carry a company.
ultimately, I think, in my opinion, what killed WCW were the network executives and the people in Turner Broadcasting once
Mhm.
Ted took a step back. Because
Yeah.
once he didn't have the reins, they pulled the plug and they basically said, no, we want this to be PG. We want this to be this. So they forced them into a space where it wasn't working. And what was working, they were pulling away so they could destroy it.
Even Russo says, like, in WWE, all my ideas, all my stories, I go to Vince and say, yes, I can do whatever I wanted. Vince Russo had the most successful WWE writer ever with the Attitude Era. Like, what he did was genius. He goes to WCW, he's doing the same formula. However, he says, I had to go through this guy, this, like he said, the executive. And they said, no, I can't do that. Vince, change this, change that. By the time I wrote a story, it wasn't my story no more because they changed it 100 times, so it kills the product. But Vince McMahon was smart enough. If it's hot, you let it run.
They wanted to kill the product, and maybe not the company itself, not Russo. None of those guys wanted to
Yeah.
kill it that were inside it, dealing with it. It was the network that was killing it from themselves, so they could use that fuel to say at their annual board meeting, "Hey, this program's not working. We should cut it." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I mean, I hope they look at it from that direction and see it because I mean that's the most logical thing.
And I don't like the idea of The Rock and The Rock's company producing it because you weren't there, Rock. You can tell the WWE side of it, but you weren't there. So I mean, is he trying to do this in an honest light? Is he trying to cast a bias on it? I don't know. I haven't watched it.
Well,
But I'll
let's
have to
see,
check it out.
let's see what the next episode brings and
How
what
can you not
happens.
have Hulk Hogan and Goldberg in it? Like, come on.
Well, I think I'll look into it, but there was a reason why they didn't bring Hogan in. I just can't recall right now. I apologize, but I looked at it because I thought, okay, why isn't he here? Then I thought maybe it's because he lies so much, and maybe you know what I mean. Like you look at some of the other interviews he's done in the last year, Like, there's so much fact checking that needs to
Well, I
be
don't think
done.
that he's lying. I think that he's got so many concussions. He's 70 years old and he's remembering stuff from 30, 40 years. He's been whacked in the head so
Okay.
many times.
Okay.
And it's not because The Rock loves Hulk Hogan. It's one of his idols. It's not The Rock that didn't want him on there. He loves Hogan. So it
Yeah.
wouldn't be like Rock doesn't like Shawn Michaels. If you watch the Young Rock, he cut Shawn Michaels out, period. He hates Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
But he loves Hogan. So it's nothing to do with that. I don't know what the reason would be, but people that Hogan lies, but like the guy's 70, he's had how many concussions? Probably 30, 40, 50 of them. So his memory is not going to be what it was, right?
I'd like to challenge out to anyone. Should prove me wrong. I believe the death of WCW was a multitude of things, but
Yeah.
the biggest thing that killed WCW was TNT, was Turner Broadcasting,
Yeah.
was Warner Brothers. They killed it because the stronger it got, the harder it was for them to pull.
And they weren't good at, besides Goldberg, they weren't really good at creating stars.
Well, no,
So all the Hogan, Hall, and Nash guys are getting late 40s now.
Yeah.
And then they didn't really have any new stars, and that was hard too, right?
Well, that was a part of it too. But like I said, it's a multitude of things. But the biggest factor, in my opinion, WCW would still be around today, man, if it wasn't for all the things that we saw. But the biggest catalyst, in my opinion, that made it so easy for Vince to buy it for nothing as
$1 million.
well. Let's talk about that as well. He bought it for nothing. So I hope this new series shows us that this was more of a network thing and they started focusing a bit more on the people at Warner Brothers that were controlling it, trying to destroy it internally. Right?
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
All right. WWE Ricochet is written off TV. He is officially done. Good for him, man. Ballsy move. I mean, he could have stayed comfortable where he was and made the paycheck be with his girlfriend, his fiance. But I mean, he's taking the chance, and I mean, I don't know if he's going to find name-wise. He's always going to be famous because of what WWE done for him. But ultimately, I think he's written off the right way and left that door open for him, which is a smart move on his part. Thoughts?
He's frustrated. Doesn't like Triple H and the boys how they're booking him. He's a mid carder at best, lower mid card. Great athlete. He's in great shape. He can't talk. That he's never been over. He's never going to be over. He's 7, 8 years into his career. He is what he is. He'll go to AEW. He fits in better over there with their style, more of an indie style. What is Ricochet most famous for? The only thing I can think about is that viral moment he had with Logan Paul. Other than that, he hasn't really done anything. You can't think of nothing stands out. He can't talk. And he can't sell great, and he can just flip around, and so it's like they don't need him. And I hate to say that. I like Ricochet. I always put him over,
great. He's great in the ring, and
needed.
he's done everything they've asked him to do. It just doesn't click. You know what I mean? Like, you can do everything you can, but at the end of the day, I mean, forget Ari, forget the brass, forget the writers, forget everyone. If you can't, we've talked about this. You got to be a complete package to become something in wrestling.
He just can't get over. It's just
right?
Ricochet.
Like
Can't blame anybody.
We look at the indie scene. We look at the indie scene, and I'm gonna be honest here, and I don't mean this, disparagingly to anybody, but the best indie wrestler locally, in my opinion, is Scotty Mack. And the reason I say this is because he can work the ring, he can work the mic, and he has that charisma, and he can sell, right? You got guys who can sell, but they don't have the other elements. You got guys who can do this. That's the only reason Scotty's lasted as long as he has in the indie scene, in my opinion. And that's no knock on anyone else out there, but really show me any other guy locally, and most of them, that can do what he's still doing at his age.
Yeah, there's not many. Not many. Not that have the total package. And he's in good shape too.
Right. And so in Ricochet's case, like I said, they wrote him off the right way. He's always been a team player, so there's no negative connotation. I hope he finds success in AEW, but the problem is he's going to be the flavor of the week, and then he just gets lost in the shuffle like everyone else.
Yeah, he'll be a mid card. Ricochet is never going to be a main eventer. He's never going to be a champ because he just doesn't have it. It's not being rude. He's a great athlete. You need the mid card guys. You need a whole roster, and he just fits perfectly there.
If he goes there, he's going to end up with Will Ospreay. You're going to get a couple cracker matches there, some really good ones there. But otherwise, I really he's not going to be a savior or anything by going over there.
He's not going to move the needle at all.
No, but I mean, good for him. That's the beauty of it. If anything, Tony Khan's giving these guys an opportunity to work somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So that's basically that. He is gone. I like how they wrote him off, and I like what they're doing with Braun Breaker, man. I'm telling you, that best match of Raw last night, I don't know if you caught it all, was a Dragunov and Braun Breaker match. What a solid match. If that's
seen that match, I didn't see much because I was watching my Oilers, but I did see that.
It was good. those guys are fun to watch, man.
I actually prefer not watching Raw live. I like the PVR, and then you can fast forward through nonsense. So it's much better that way.
I tell you what I do, brother, man. I turn on Raw. I watch the first 45 minutes peacefully. Then at 5:45, I start dinner, and I have it on in the background.
And I don't like these little segments they're doing with Damian Priest. They're making him look weak, kind of corny. Like, I don't know what they're doing with Damian Priest here. I don't like how they're making him look. He's a big guy, he's a strong guy, kind of making him, I don't know. Didn't like that whole segment they did with him.
I think they're trying to determine who's going to be a face and a heel at Clash at the Castle.
No, they're both putting in as a heel.
Well, no, the way they're building it right now, if you go back and watch a little bit of the Raw, you see that they're pinning Drew as the face going in. Obviously, it's in Scotland, but they're painting it that way. Just the interaction that he had with Sheamus was very, very face-like, and just the things. And then, pardon me, I think the stupidest thing that happened on Raw last night was that promo between Damian and Drew. Because Drew was concerned that there was going to be interference, and and Damian's basically telling him, like, no, dude, I don't need them. It's going to be one-on-one, this and that. Then just why did you have to have that match?
What was Drew worried about? JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio go up to his chest, like, fuck these guys off.
That's what they're trying to sell the story that he wants.
No, I know,
right? But so they're trying to make him the face in it. But then, even though Damian is telling him time and time again, are you dumb? Like, dude, no one's going to come out. It's just going to be you and me. Right? So, I mean, if that's the case, why is Drew pushing for a fucking match to determine if the bloodline could be at ringside? You didn't need that. You didn't
Judgment Day.
Or Judgment Day, sorry.
I know.
In my opinion.
Who said they were allowed to be at ringside? It's supposed to be one-on-one. Did Adam Pearce say? So it's just like they're just making up stuff, and, like, I don't know, it was poorly written.
Pearce wasn't there last night.
What's that?
Pearce wasn't on the show last night.
Okay.
Yeah. But if we're looking at the future, if we're going to make a bold prediction, those two guys in that match last night, they look like to be the next guys that are going to be coming up, especially Braun. They're putting a lot of weight behind this guy. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but man.
They are, but he's got to learn how to talk, though.
We'll figure it out, man. I mean, if they're going to put that effort into him, let's see what they do. I mean, Seth couldn't talk. Well, Seth could talk, but, Roman could never talk, and now look at him. You know what I mean? So let's see where they go. But that's that. But Clash at the Castle, we got somewhat of a card lined up here. Why don't we run through it really quickly and do our predictions?
Yeah.
Ready? All right. So, again, we don't know what the order is here. Whatever. We're just going to call it as it is. Undisputed WWE Universal Championship. They made this an I Quit match between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles. Based on what we know and what the future holds, I guess Cody's going to win this somehow.
Oh, no brainer. I don't even know why they're putting AJ Styles out there. He still is a good worker, and I got to give him credit. He came back after some time off, and he's in better shape he's ever been, and he's late 40s. But why put him in the match against Cody? He's not going to win. It'll be a good match. Give him a young guy. Give him some.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, dude, I agree with you, but I think this goes back to what we talked about last week. The lack of actually top level faces for anyone to compete against. Everyone outside of Cody, everyone's a top tier heel. There's no one. Mm-hmm. No one on either brand that's a solid face right now, right?
Yeah. So but I know Cody Rhodes makes him quit.
They're regurgitating it, but I mean, they're doing what they have to do to get a match there. And it looks, what, either way, it's going to be a good match because these guys work really well together.
Good match, yeah.
So, I mean, from a match perspective, I agree completely with what you're saying, but with what we have, I'm looking forward to it. And they're going to have a little bit more time to play with, so it should be interesting. All right, World Heavyweight Championship match. We talked about this very quickly. Damian Priest against Drew McIntyre. I'm going to go Drew. I think Drew takes it.
I was thinking about this too. It's in his home country. Obviously, it's almost too obvious that Drew's going to win. And they just gave Damian the belt, right? So what I'm thinking is, because the writing at WWE is horrible. They need to fire every writer in that place and replace them all. If I was already, I'd fire every one of these writers. You're out. We need some new writing because these storylines are garbage. Well, it's too obvious that Drew's going to win. So I'm thinking CM Punk's going to come in there, cost Drew the match. Damian keeps it up because he just got it. They're trying to do something different with Damian. Damian's going to go face here soon. I think CM Punk cost Drew the match. We're going to build their hype up, and then these two old dogs are going to fight at SummerSlam. So I'm calling Damian Priest winning. CM Punk cost Drew the belt.
Okay,
just to fuel this.
I was thinking of the same things, but I'm thinking it from the other way around. First off, Drew didn't get the shot. Drew lost at Clash at the Castle in 2022 against Roman, which is fine. We expected that, right? But the reality is, I almost feel this time just to build that story up a little bit more because, like you said, Damien's kind of you work with him, try to do what you can, but I think there's more pop and sizzle, like you say, if Punk comes out, but costs Priest the match, which allows him to win instead.
Could be. It's
Kind
hard
of
to say.
kind of a reverse of what happened at WrestleMania in a certain way, right? I mean, you could still have it run, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
The reason why I'm thinking Punk will cost Drew the belt is because when they're cutting promos in each other, it's scripted, but there's a little bit of realism there because it kind of like Drew's making fun of his body, like they're kind of making it
Yeah,
personal, which is
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So we'll see. I'm going to say Damian Priest retains. I
Okay,
think
and I'm gonna
just
say
because he needs to hold the belt a little longer.
I get it, and I appreciate that, and you're not wrong there. But I can also see them elevating this storyline a little
Yeah.
bit, Punk, and I could see Drew coming, kind of winning it too. And I think Drew would be a better heel champion than Priest is. And if you're
Oh,
saying,
he's a way better champ than
and
Priest.
if you say Priest is going to go face, then you could build him as a top tier face that could come back at some point. You know what I mean?
It's hard to say. I'm not really quite sure, but my gut's telling me Damon keeps the belt for just a little bit longer. We'll see.
Fair enough. Okay, that's good. We got conflicting things here. That makes it fun. All right,
Mm-hmm.
let's go to the women WWE Women's Championship match: Bailey versus Piper Niven. Piper's getting the shot because it's in Scotland. I don't want to be disrespectful or anything, but I mean, I just can't see Piper taking the belt off of her. But then again, I didn't see Liv taking the belt off of Becky either. So
I
I'm
think
kind of
you're right. I think Bailey wins, but I would love to see Piper Niven win. She's younger, she's newer. It's in her home country. What
yeah.
way to sell the pay per view? What way to get something trending? What way to build some hype? Oh my God,
No,
Piper
sure.
upset Bailey. It's not going to happen, but I'd love to see it.
Well, it could happen because you got Chelsea Green involved in here as well. And I mean, if you have Chelsea and Piper working that belt together, it could be
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Like you said, Bailey does not need the
She
strap.
doesn't need it.
If anything, she got the strap as a thank you for everything that she did during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Uh, Literally from the girls' division, she controlled it. She carried that women's division on her back during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, when the crowds came back, she got injured. She was out for a year. So thank you, Bailey, for everything you've done. Here's your WrestleMania moment. I think with the women's title, we can get away with that a little bit more, personally.
Yeah.
Maybe not the men's, just because of the standard of it and whatnot. And I don't mean that in a sexist
Yeah.
or
I know what you mean.
masculine way, but the women's title, yeah, there's a lot of young girls up there that could benefit from it. Bailey doesn't need it, honestly.
No.
Bailey doesn't need a
I like to
strap.
see Piper have it. It'd be a huge pop for the crowd. I mean, Piper or Drew, one of them going to get the belt here. They got to
One of
make
them
the.
has to win, right? So
Maybe it's Piper. It's too obvious if it's Drew.
you can't send Scotland home with everyone not winning something. At least one of them has to win, right?
No.
Okay, so we also have a intercontinental championship match. This is a storyline that's actually been really, really good throughout all the storylines that are out there. Alpha Academy Sami Zayn storyline is pretty good, man. I'm enjoying it. I'm looking forward to this match in the worst way, man. Yeah, we've seen it a few times, but just the way they're building it up, and Otis is so conflicted. Like, forget Tozawa, forget Maxime Dupuis. This has become a battle between Otis and right and wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And Chad Gable and Sami Zayn are the catalyst in this story. And I'm enjoying it, man. They're doing great work with this. This is quietly going under the radar, but I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna say Chad's gonna win this.
Yeah, Chad's going to take it. Sammy doesn't need the belt. Sammy is not a good champion. He's a better chaser. I've always said that. He's a goofball, goofy looking guy. He's hard to take serious just looking at him with his beard, his hair, his pale chest, his hairy chest. But he's a good worker and he's a good entertainer. So, and Chad needs it. They need to certify Chad, as a champion. He's like a poor man's Kurt Angle. Not as big as Kurt, not as good as Kurt, not as funny as Kurt, but still pretty damn good.
No, he's solid. And the things that he's doing right now, just the way he's acting and everything, he's doing a great job. Like, he's really selling this kind of character. You know what? I'm enjoying the work.
Sammy's better when he's in the mix of stuff. Doesn't need the belt. He's a good chaser. He's a goofball guy. Yeah,
look, if everything is going in the direction that it seems to be going in, Sammy doesn't need the belt because his next story is going to be huge, right? With the return of Roman Reigns, with the return of the other Usos, Sammy's going to play a role in it, which I kind of find interesting because they keep talking about War Games. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. They're talking about this year's War Games where it's going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline. You'd almost think that Kevin Owens should be a part of that team and not Sammy, considering he's fighting these guys right now. But they keep putting
So my
Sammy there. They keep putting Sammy there. All right.
Sammy's more entertaining.
No, he is, and he was already a part of that group, right? I mean, all right. So we have the Intercontinental match, women's title match here. It's a three-way dance. You got Shayna Baszler, you got Zoe Starks against the champions, Bianca, who looked amazing last night. I'll be honest, man. I'm gonna call it like it is. She looked so pretty. She looked so good. I love the way she came out. There's something about Bianca Belair and Jade, just amazing. Just their look, just the way they look. But Bianca in particular, man, she looked really good last night. I'm gonna say it straight up. I'm like, wow, she was really pretty, right? And that's okay to say. I'm not just
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I know you're right. She looked good.
She looked amazing. But here we go. We got Alba Fryer, Alba Fryer, and Isa Dawn. So these girls, one's from up north in England, the other one's from Scotland. So three-way dance here. I think the girls, Bianca and company are going to take it. Jade Gargill, they're going to take this. That's not going to be a problem.
They're the best things going in the women's division.
Yeah.
Two most over, two most entertaining, best dressed. They're winning this for sure. Hands down.
They should.
No
So that being said, we should see an upset either with Piper Niven or Drew, because that's all your Scottish content that's on this card.
Yeah.
And all three Scots are fighting for a title. Right, so if we don't think the girls are going to take it, it has to be Piper. It's either Piper or Drew.
Yeah,
you can't leave Scotland with not giving one of the belts to one of their people. You can't.
I think it's going to be Piper because I think they're going to let Damien have the belt a little bit longer, but we'll see. We don't know.
Yeah. And if Piper wins, I'll be happy because I think having Chelsea with her is going to elevate that even more, make it more fun for that. All right, that's the card so far. We don't know what they're giving us on SmackDown, but if anything leads to it, I believe your boy Logan Paul will be defending the US title against one LA Knight. They haven't finalized it, but I mean, we don't know, right? Like we have.
If that match happens, to me, that's the best match in the card. Entertainment wise, athleticism. LA Knight's last few matches, I think he feels a little bit slighted going down the mid card here. And if you watch his matches, he's doing a little bit quicker. He's hitting a little bit harder. He's trying a little bit in the ring. He wants to get like, hey, wait a minute, I should be wrestling.
I'm looking for if this match is announced on Friday.
I hope so. We don't know.
Both of us think Logan's going to win, right? I mean, should win. If he loses the title, it'll be at SummerSlam in Cleveland in his hometown. Yeah, I think that's where they drop him, right? But he should win this match. I'll pick Logan.
What a promo Logan Paul cut there on LA Knight.
That was really good. You sent it
back down to the mid card, like genius.
Hey, man, what I took away from that promo that he did, the biggest thing was his cadence. I loved how he made it flow. Words are words, but how you use the words and how you accentuate the words. I was listening. I know this might not be popular with people, but I don't know if you're familiar with Lex Friedman.
I know he is. Yeah.
So he had Kevin Spacey on. And I'm a huge Kevin Spacey fan of his movies. Not the stuff that he's done outside of movies or whatever he's being blamed for. I'm only focused on his acting. He's always been one of my favorite actors. But he was on there and he was just talking about acting and just talking about the method and the process. And, Logan using that knowledge that I gained from Kevin in that podcast, I could see it in the work that Logan's doing with his cadence and the way he's delivering the words. And, well done. Very well done.
That guy is an absolute natural in wrestling and promo. He's just a natural jerk. He just like you said, everything he does is in the ring. We're talking, he flows so nicely. Like he's so natural, born with it.
The biggest reason I want to see this match is to see how far Logan's come, because everyone he's fought up until this point has been able to carry the match. Fair play, not taking nothing away. He does
the high spots, but yeah,
no, but not taking anything away from Logan. Please understand, you're going in against someone now who's still better than you ring wise and everything. But how are you going to work with a guy who's not known for carrying a match or doesn't have that Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair type of demeanor that, Seth Rollins type of demeanor.
These guys don't need to go more than 7-8 minutes. But they're both good talkers. They both got crazy facial expressions.
Yeah.
So they don't need to do too much punch kick. Logan do a couple high spots.
Yeah.
Talk the crowd.
I'm just curious to see how Logan does with a guy that's not top level that can save you in a match. Ultimately,
it'll be good. They'll pull it off. These guys are good entertainers.
All right, brother man, let's wrap it up here. It's been a slice. We got our predictions in the book. So guys, come back next Tuesday. Check us out so we can tell you what went down and who went down and where went down. Guys, I'm Sam. He's Chance.
And in the words of the great AC/DC, those that download, like, and subscribe to the podcast, we salute you.
Absolutely. And Chance Michaels, you probably know where I'm coming with this one, but no matter how hard things get in life, no matter what the Holy Spirit or whatever you believe in throws at you, it's meant for a reason. Surround yourself with good people who believe in you. Surround yourself with people that are going to support you and not hurt you. That's my advice for today. Samp and Chance, we love you. We'll check you out next Tuesday.